So we're running just as fast as we can, holding on to one another's hand, trying to get away into the night. And then you put your arms around me and we tumble to the ground. And then you say, I think we're alone now. There doesn't seem to be anyone around. I think we're alone now. The beating of our hearts is the only sound. Look at the way we gotta hide what we're doing. 'Cause what would they say if they ever knew? And so we're running just as fast as we can, holding on to one another's hands, trying to get away into the night. And then you put your arms around me and we tumble to the ground. And then you say, I think we're alone now. There doesn't seem to be anyone around. I think we're alone now. The beating of our hearts is the only sound. I think we're alone now. Doesn't seem to be anyone around. I think we're alone now. The beating of our hearts is the only sound. I think we're alone now. There doesn't seem to be anyone around. I think we're alone now. The beating of our hearts is the only sound. I think we're alone now. There doesn't seem to be anyone around. I think we're alone now. The beating of our hearts is the only sound. I think we're alone now. There doesn't seem to be anyone around. I think we're alone now.
Welcome. We are back another day in this glorious stock market that never ends. And the largest selling volume on the daily for the SPY, I mean, probably since March. I don't see, this today was the largest selling volume in the S&P 500 since our bottom in March. That was the last time we had selling volume at this level, when we were at kind of that March low. And a very interesting thing about that March low is because if you remember on Monday night's stream, this is the TLT, the 20-year plus Treasury bond ETF. If we compare this to the S&P 500, okay, the TLT are the candles, the S&P 500 is this orange line. We compare the two. It was actually, let's see, it was, trying to find a good area. Let's go all the way over here. It was really that March low when these both started flipping. They were moving in the same direction for so long, they were very correlated. And then in that March low, the last time that the S&P 500 had selling volume larger than the one that we saw today is when the TLT disconnected from the SPY. So that is something I did want to talk about. I mean, looking at this TLT chart as well, right? Remember, high sell volume is when they disconnected and the TLT started going down while the SPY went up. If we also go over to the weekly, and I did mention this in the Discord, you just hit, let me turn off this. You just hit 82 on the weekly for TLT, which is actually your lows from 06, 07, just before the Great Recession. So there's a lot of interesting things going on if you just look away from the stock market itself. I mean, if we really want to keep talking about bonds, you're pretty much at 5% on the US 10-year. You didn't literally touch it. Actually, yeah, you did actually literally touch 5% today for the first time since 07. When was the last time that the US 10-year was at 5%? Just before the Great Recession. So those are two different pieces of information using bonds, the 10-year and the 20-plus year, in which the last time we saw them at these levels, the 20-plus year ETF this low, And then the 10-year this high, the last time that happened was just before the Great Recession. And that is something I think is very interesting, maybe a little bit scary. And I wanted to bring that up like to start off the stream. The last time we saw the major treasuries at these levels was before the biggest recession of this century. So I don't know. There's a lot going on in the world right now. We're going to see what happens. Let's do a quick roll call. What's up, Lindsey Glenn? Frank, Corey. Lindsey Glenn says, good old J-Pow strikes again. Going to be able to retire early if he keeps this up. Zeke, Nerve, Me Tenderfoot says vibes or a money opportunity. Cash is king right now. What's up, 1010? And then Me Tenderfoot also says something getting ready to break. This is a really weird time. All right. If we look at some other stuff like the VIX today, or this week in general, you're pretty much officially back above this range. And if some of you in this chat know what Wyckoff accumulation is, maybe it's setting up here, right? You saw a large drop on the VIX since the COVID crash. You sprung under the support, you filled up some liquidity, stopped out some traders. Now you're back in the range and probably will be the highest weekly candle close on the VIX since, again, March. I started off the stream talking about that March low on the SPY was the last time the daily volume was this large, especially on a red day. We move back over into the SPY on the weekly now. You can see we're potentially setting up. Depends on how tomorrow goes. Futures are down right now, but if we don't do a great job rallying tomorrow, recovering, the SPY can close with a bearish engulfing on the weekly for the first time since our top so far of the year, which was the end of July, the last week of July. From what I can see here, that was the last time we had a bearish engulfing on the weekly. And then the time before that was, again, what I keep talking about right now, the March low. That was the only time before that. And I think also the only other time this year we've had a bearish engulfing on the weekly. So we've only had 2 bearish engulfings on the weekly this year. That March low, which is heavily correlated to what we're seeing in bonds, and then our top of the year. We will see. There's this whole new theme of VIX Crush Fridays, where Fridays have been pretty good in the last few months for the market. But this is such a critical area. It's a very, very critical area. I mean, we're looking at a weekly chart right now. Look at this red zone, right? Let me call it the zone of death, potentially. Okay. You have this low over here. I know this kind of went under it, but you were seeing some liquidity getting filled around these lows. Then you started seeing supply here. Okay, look at all these highs. Then you started seeing support here over the past few months. You even kind of have held it for the past few months. And again, if we don't recover tomorrow, this will be the lowest weekly candle close, right? I know you went lower in the first week of October, but this could be the lowest weekly candle close in some time, in a few months. So I wanted to talk about that as well. Give me 1 second. All right. Wanted to talk about that as well. These are very, very important areas for the market. There's that whole entire cup and handle theme that I know a lot of people are talking about on a weekly time frame. Looks somewhat like this. There still is a potential for that, right? But if you break this critical zone, it could intensify the selling. And you don't have a lot of support for some time. And then at what point is it still a handle? Is it still going to be a handle if we go down that much? I don't know. So, summary, this is a very, very high risk make or break area for the market. If we go back over to the daily, I'm going to clear everything off the chart for 1 second here. And Zeke did actually share this in the Discord in the technical trades channel earlier, which I found very interesting. On top of all the things I just talked about, this potential cup and handle look or inverse cup and handle look to the market right now, right? And that key level is, the 420-ish area. Shout out to Elon Musk. This is like kind of that key level where the 200-day moving average lines up perfectly. It was our lows in the beginning of the month. It was also that gap fill from the gap up on June 2nd. We go back in time is where you gap down in August of last year. All right, this was also a support in January of 2022. It was a support in July of 2021. It was a resistance in May of 2021. That 420-ish area is so key. And if you break it, if you break this area, right? You've already gone ahead and broken this trend line. By the way, as of today, right? That trend line I just drew, let's make this a different color so it's not the same as the cup and handle. We take a look at that trend line, right? The uptrend of this year. If we just use a trend line to look at it. As of today, you closed under it for only the second time. Well, technically that's not true. All right, you broke under it for the second time. You did close a few of these candles under it, right? So we have broken this trend line before, and then we kind of just got saved over here on October 6th and rallied back above it for a little bit. But again, on that rally, so far, the bulls were not even strong enough to fill this gap. That gap did not get filled, right? Right over here, this gap down from September 21st on this rally. We really zoom in here. That gap was not filled. It's an unfilled gap. Couldn't even fill the gap. Now you're selling off again, testing the breakdown of that trend line again. And if you just sell off a little bit more, you're going to be retesting the 200-day moving average in that critical breakdown area. So if this right here breaks, if that breaks right here, right, then you're breaking down on the daily. What happens after that? You've put in a confirmed lower high. What can end a long-term bull trend? A confirmed lower high. I don't know the last time we saw a lower high that's visually clear on a weekly time frame on the S&P 500. A lower high. And then of course, you know, this is way more aggressive on the bears side, but you have the common wave structure, right? The imaginary scenario we were talking about a year ago on the stream when we were down over here. What if we make an 886 retrace back up and then we really sell off again? Like all that is starting to line up, and it's just really interesting, especially with what we're seeing on bonds for the first time since literally right before the Great Recession. I want to spend some more time looking into like some actual research in terms of how banks are doing, in terms of how economic trade is going, and see if there are some similarities. I mean, house prices are also crazy, and we're starting to see, at least I've been starting to see on Twitter, a lot of areas starting to stall out where over the past few months, you see sellers of houses actually lowering their asking prices for the first time in a long time. So, you know, I'm not calling for anything crazy, but this is just very interesting. Did I just lose everything on my weekly? It's okay. Let me just make sure that I fix this chart up because I feel like I just did a lot. I apologize for this, but I just want to make sure that my chart is okay. Didn't want to lose all my stuff. So that's really what's setting up over here on the daily. Today we actually did give up the 430 level of support, which was pretty important because we held that in June and in August. It was highs from August of last year. So pretty bad technical breakdown today. Myself, I traded both puts and calls. I got into puts this morning. Both of them were alerted in the Discord. I got into puts over here, took profits on those puts at the bottom of this candle. Then I got into calls over here, took profits on them over here. And the funny part was, so both of those were winning trades. I think they hit the 30% mark for first the puts and then the calls. And when I actually got into calls, somewhere around over here, I had an order that did not fill, and I forgot about it, which is something I don't do often. One of my call orders did not fill, and I took my profits. I was like, okay, I'm done for the day. All right, turn off my computer, just on my phone. Out of nowhere, I get a notification on my phone saying, your order to buy calls has been filled. And I'm like, wait, what? What order? By the time I load up my app, I'm like, I'm up 50%. Wait, what just happened? Basically, when I was getting into calls over here, I had an order that didn't fill. When we got this first wick down over here, when Powell started speaking or something, I got filled on the calls for the order that didn't get filled initially. And then at the top, like not the top of the candle, like I could have made some more, but around over here, I just like, all right, I'm out. And it was like another 50%. So it was like I had 2 winning trades, and then I got like a free third trade on top of that. Not free, but an accidental 50%. It wasn't, I don't know if it was actually 50%. When I looked at my phone, I was up 50%, but I think it was like 36 or something percent when I actually looked back at it. And then we saw some volatility in the afternoon, ups and downs, a lot of different headlines coming out until about 1:10, and then we just kind of sold off for the rest of the day. Ended up finding some support at 426, and you are now lower after hours. Okay, I mean, futures are down more than that. So that's pretty much what happened today for the SPY. If we move over into the Qs, you rejected the breakout of this flag. The classic bullish divergence got you up to test it, but it was rejected. And now the Qs are back down to retesting demand over here. You can see June, August, and the beginning of this month, you did see demand in the mid 350 range for the Q. So we will see if once again you can find it. If not, probably a 200 moving average at 337 will be tested next. MACD is losing momentum. RSI is curling down. Potential third, no, not potential. This is the third lower high in a row. And then if we move over to small caps, this is one I really want to focus on tonight. Okay, the Russell 2000. It's been testing the breakdown of this triangle. This triangle is about a year old. It's been testing the breakdown of this for the past month. And as of today, you just got your lowest candle close on the Russell 2000 since pretty much exactly a year ago. And you are now testing the breakdown of this support you've been holding for all of 2023 on the Russell 2000. You've been holding the support all year, and you're now testing the breakdown. You break this 163 is the next level from these lows last summer. And if we go over to a weekly time frame, you can see that this is also the make or break area for the whole entire small cap sector. Not the whole small cap sector, but at least the Russell 2000. This is the area where you've been holding it since you got down to it. But if it breaks again, the next major level I see is 127.5 from this high over here and this low over here. So these are things that are very noteworthy taking place in the market. The ARK ETF, it did have that chance. I see Lump in the chat. It had that falling wedge. But, I was just looking at the bigger picture with the upsloping channel where it's like, yes, there was a falling wedge in classic bullish divergence, and probably in a more bullish market that would have played out and it maybe could have even gotten above 41. But unfortunately, we see some selling in the larger names of the market, and you are now seeing pretty much the breakdown of this upsloping channel and the 200-day moving average play out, and you're falling back down into this pretty much its major support zone historically. Like, this is where it always ends up finding support, with the next literal level being $35 from these two lows in March and April of this year. So getting a sell off there as well. It's just a lot of ugliness here and there in the market. So we did have some earnings come out. You had Netflix up 16% today on earnings. I mean, technically, I don't even think the chart looked good going into earnings, but you just got good numbers. I guess I didn't even look at them. And you're now back above the 200 moving average. Tesla did the opposite. Tesla sold off. And it does have support just beneath around 214, 200-day moving average, and then also a pretty historical zone. So those are two earnings names. And yeah, it's pretty much like the major stuff in the market right now. It's crazy. Like, I really recommend for those of you who were not here for the first 10 minutes of the stream to go back and take a look at all the things I was talking about, especially with bonds. We really have not seen this stuff, and I'm not trying to create fear or anything. It's a fact. We have not seen the 10-year at this price since right before the Great Recession. We have not seen the TLT 20-year plus at these lows since right before the Great Recession. That is a fact. You can take that as you want to, but that is true. Okay? So yeah, let's talk about some other stuff. Carvana. Again, the market's kind of rolling over. I think the setup looked pretty good, but now it's kind of losing support, more confirmation, pretty much failing as a trade in terms of the swing. End phase as well could not break back above in the profit for the swing. Kind of tested it 3 times, getting close to the stop again. So it's not easy. If you've noticed, I put out one new swing in premium this week, but apart from that, I really stopped putting out swings because of everything I just talked about in the market. So I'm going back to focusing more on the day trades. If we really confirm that breakdown on the SPY, you might see some more short swings. I know I tried it out. We did have a couple of the short swings hit targets in premium, and then a couple of them fail when we got that rally about a week and a half ago. We had, I think, Microsoft fail and one more. So it's just tough because you need to wait for like an actual drop in the market sometimes for more confirmation, and that by that point you might miss out on some of the shorts. So it just gets a little bit weird. But yeah, let's talk about crypto really quickly. Bitcoin consolidating over the 200-day moving average for the first time since it broke it on August 17th. Looks pretty interesting here. Let's take a look at Ethereum as well. Ethereum's not really doing as much as Bitcoin right now. It's underperforming quite a bit, but it is finding some support here at 1530-ish. So I guess it's holding that. And yeah, that's pretty much what's going on. If you want to talk levels heading into tomorrow, go over to the 1 hour chart. I did also share this, I think yesterday, like literally on the first candle that you broke down from this wedge. I did share it in the trading chat in the Discord, links on the bottom of the screen if you want to join. And that's been playing out pretty nicely. We're currently testing this 426 level, which is some lows back from June 7th. If that breaks, then pretty much that major level on the daily I was talking about, 422-ish, is your next level. All right, I'm actually gonna go ahead and mark that level just so I have it up. That's pretty much your next level if we can't hold this little area we're holding, or that we held into the close. So there you go. That's a quick update for today. Take a look at a few other things really quickly. Not much in oil today. Gold rallying quite a bit. Pretty nice V-shaped recovery. Hang Seng Index retesting its lowest prices of the year as we speak, down almost 1% on the day. And dollar currency index, it's still on the other side of this trend line, so it's not looking great. But I guess as long as it holds 105, it's okay, technically speaking. All right, so let's read some of these chats. If you want me to look at some charts, feel free to drop them in the chat right now. Drop whatever you want me to look at in the chat. I'm gonna go get my smoothie from the fridge and I'll be right back. All right. Let me ask a question for anybody who's more fit than I am. This has 40 grams of protein in it. Now I know there's the standard, have like a gram of protein per pound that you weigh. So I do not weigh 40 pounds, but hopefully I can get up to that with like the rest of the food I'm eating throughout the day. But my question is 40 grams of protein in one shake like bad for your kidneys? Because it's not enough to make up for how much protein I should have in the day. But I know like the standard for a lot of protein powders is like 25 grams, 30 grams. Is 40 tough on the kidneys? Should I kind of lower that? For anybody who's more into gym stuff than me, drop that in the chat. It's a cool thing about having all of you watching me. I can just get free advice whenever I want. Not financial advice, but life advice. All right. So let's look at the monthly on the US 10. Monthly. And the trend breakout from the 1980s. It's gone basically straight up since. I think you said you mentioned this somewhere in here. What chat was it? Monthly look. Yes, I do see that. Very interesting. The guy says Ark still got that Holy Grail inverse head and shoulders. What time frame is that on? It's like a weekly type of thing. Kind of like this. Yeah, I guess it does. It's really just all about this zone. Like, as long as it holds this zone, I guess it's okay. It's kind of like the floor for the ARK ETF, but if it breaks, I have no clue what type of price discovery some of these stocks might see. To the downside, not good price discovery. It's like anti-price discovery. All right, let's take a look at some of these tickers. FFIE. Long-term trend is not your friend on this one. I don't know, there's really nothing here to talk about. It looks like maybe some sort of split or something happened because I used to have a wedge here, but there's nothing there now. I don't know, maybe just had some news or something recently and then it just gave up the gains. Not really anything I can chart on something like this. Let's take a look at Apple. The wedge played out nicely. You went up to fill this gap from the gap down on September 7th. And now you're starting to make the potential third lower high. So what I'm going to do is that. Take a look at that. You pretty much rejected that trend line. So it's like a larger wedge forming now. It gives up 173 again. That's the key level. If it gives up 173, I think it might go back down and retest the 200-day moving average. Looks very similar to the SPY, and that's not surprising. It's one of the top holdings. Jay says not physician advice. Pizza Box says 40 grams is about the max in about a 2-hour setting. Okay, so maybe just split it up. Maybe do like 2 20-gram shakes. Maybe that's a better way to do it. Sorry if I keep turning my head just watching some Thursday night football. More than 2 grams per kilo per day is not so great. Okay. You have to factor in that gram per kilo pound ratio is referring to lean mass, not your actual body weight. Okay, I did not know that. I'm gonna look into that, Keenan. Thank you. Because I'm like just really trying to get started on taking care of my health again. I don't know if I really talked about it on the streams, but Zeke knows about it. I went through a little stint of some health issues that I should not be having at 21, so I'm trying to be healthier now. The guy says, doubt your kidneys will suffer, but try to sprout the protein over the day. Yeah, it's just tough. Like, I'll like not eat for like 10 hours and then I'll eat like 1,200 calories in like an hour. That's kind of how I do it, which I don't know if it's technically intermittent fasting. Again, I don't know a lot of these things. I'm just like testing the waters with all different types of diets and everything. The main thing is just don't eat all the garbage that I've been eating for the past 2 years and just work out more. Also, don't forget amino acids post-workout and something like liquid IV to make sure you get water and electrolytes. That's something I've always been good at. I've always been good at drinking a lot of water. All right, let's look at a few more of these charts. All right, WBA. I mean, look, there's always a potential to double bottom here. There's not really any double bottom structure just yet, and you're just making lower candle closes by the day. You do have hidden bearish divergence. If we go over to a weekly, it just broke under a very important level, which was 2150, your lows from 2008. It's weird because you get some slower movers like retail names like Walgreens. And if you look away from like the large cap tech sector, there are a lot of like older stocks, right? Because like the RKTF is not a good example for this because a lot of those stocks are newer. But if you look at some of like the more slow moving names in the market that are not as aggressive, that have been around since the Great Recession, a lot of them are actually getting back to their levels when the S&P is way higher. And I don't think the S&P is going to fall back down to that level. It just tends to go up over time, but there's just certain parts of the market and even other markets that are just implying a lot of relationships to back then, and it's just really interesting. And again, I don't know how much I can speak on that because I was 6 years old, but just really interesting. All right, Kava. I mean, it broke out of a trend line. It's been going up a little bit since then. These are really your big levels. Clove and KR. Clove had a really nice move after breaking out of this wedge, and it's just been selling off since. At this point, though, it looks like a bullish bat. And yeah, it's a textbook bullish bat. And you did get, let's see, about a 14% bounce at the pattern completion zone. You've got the potential classic bullish divergence. I think the big level to hold here is this low you put in at the end of last year, right around 86 cents. And then KR, pretty interesting range here. It's still in the range. Classic bullish divergence on this name as well. And testing a breakout of this wedge. Pizza Box says, how about trying to eat smaller every 2 hours with 2 lean large meals a day? It's a 4-2 plan. Yeah, and anybody who has any advice for me, feel free to DM me on Twitter or Discord. I'm open to trying everything. Plus, spreading out protein intake throughout different sources is the best. Lean meats, eggs, yogurt. Yeah, I'm just having a lot of vegan protein because I don't want to use whey protein. So, like pea plant protein or something. I have like 3 different patterns right now. Eat chicken, eggs. I think it says beef. This thing's blocking my chat. Best form of protein. Takes a lot of time to cook. That's why I think shakes are just so easy. But I get it's probably not the same quality of protein, so. What's going on over here? SoFi. Testing stop. Okay. I want to go look at Bitcoin on lower time frames because this 28.7K level, it's testing a breakout of it. And I don't know, I mean, you could try to create a pattern out of this, maybe something like that. But I think in general, it's just a range. And it's literally one pop away from breaking out of this range. And then again, then there's like nothing until 30K. And there's probably sellers already in the books for 30K and a decent amount of them. But when Bitcoin starts moving, it can get crazy. So we will see what happens there. I don't remember the last time we saw Bitcoin outperform the stock market. So just imagine when you get that flip. We will see. All right, so that's going to be it for tonight's stream. Last stream of the week. Hope everybody has a great week, and I will be in the Discord tomorrow. And should be live a lot of days next week and in the next month. So look forward to that. The only week I'm not going to really be live is like Halloween week. Jordan's going to be over here, so I'm sure we're going to be having a great time celebrating his 21st birthday. That's Ace the Kid. So it's going to be pretty cool. But apart from that one week, like a lot of November, I'm going to be streaming like almost every single day. So look forward to that. Join the Discord, hit the like button and subscribe button. If you want to join premium, wap.com/championvibe. It's the pin chat. Went 2 for 2 today on options trades. Put out a new swing today. Weekly watch list is coming out this weekend. This week has been a little bit on and off with the live trading just because it's been we were in that like 7-day range on the SPY, so I didn't want to like force any trades. But now we're starting to see some activity, maybe some puts tomorrow. I don't know. We will see. If you want to see and just test the waters, you can get a 1-day free trial. You don't lose anything. You only gain education. Even if you just join for 1 day, you can get all the resources, see all the swings, see the watch list, see the whole entire group chat. WAP.com/championvibe. Check that out. Zeke says, in NYC, I'll come through. Yes, we are going to be in the city. You are more than welcome to come hang out. I was going to invite you a little bit closer then regardless. Scrooge, what's going on? Love to see you in the chat. As always, appreciate your analysis. Thank you. Thank you. Me Tenderfoot. Pizza Box says, cheers and great work on eating better. Thank you. It was not easy because if there's one thing I really like, it's my food. So it was not easy to change all this diet up. All right. Vibes in the chat. I will see you all next week and in the Discord tomorrow. Have a great night.